On the 31st of July, 1995, a routine diving activity in the North Sea became fatal for a commercial diver as what should have been a standard underwater task ended in something extremely harrowing. The accident not only claimed Bradley's life, but also resulted in unrepentant legal consequences for the offshore industry. Did the tragedy happen because of unforeseen natural circumstances, or was human error the main culprit? This is the story of Bradley Westell, an experienced diver who ran into something unexpected underwater and lost his life. Born in the United Kingdom in 1965, Bradley Westell grew up in a family that loved each other and encouraged hard work. He was curious and adventurous from a very young age and loved outdoor activities, including playing sports, especially the ones that required him to be strong, both physically and mentally. Another thing Bradley loved the most was exploring nature. He'd go out and spend hours trying to make sense of everything that was around him. One of Bradley's favorite things was the sea, and his fascination with the endless and deep waters began when his family started taking him to the coast for outings and vacations. This love of the sea would later make Bradley pursue a career as a professional diver. But before that, Bradley had attended several vocational training workshops during his teens and early 20s because of a keen interest in mechanics and engineering. After working many hands-on jobs during his late teens and early 20s, Bradley started taking recreational diving courses for his love of the ocean. During these courses, Bradley's instructors noted that he was a quick learner and had everything that an expert diver required. So, they suggested Bradley pursue a career in commercial diving since he already had vocational training and different skills. Commercial diving isn't as simple as it might seem, and Bradley realized it as soon as he started diving underwater for different commercial projects that included maintenance, inspections, and construction. But while his colleagues did it as a job, Bradley dived for work as a diving enthusiast. This helped him soon become a skilled commercial diver who was known for undertaking the toughest of projects and doing them with ease. Despite being an experienced diver, Bradley never took safety lightly and always made sure to follow the safety protocols. In the summer of 1995, Bradley Westell received a call from the project manager who was overseeing Shell's bark extension project from the diving support vessel Stena Aurelia off Bacton, Norfolk in the North Sea. The project manager needed an experienced and skilled diver for cable laying work underwater, and Bradley was the perfect choice for a task like that. The manager told Bradley that it was a routine maintenance dive and he needed to lay optic fiber cables on the seabed, nearly 60 miles off the coast of Norfolk. This wasn't something Bradley hadn't done before, so he agreed to it after a brief discussion about the logistics and other relevant details. Bradley needed to be on Stena Aurelia within a week of his discussion with the project manager. A few days later, Bradley arrived at a heliport in Norfolk and started his journey towards Stena Aurelia through a helicopter, the quickest way to get to his destination. After a few minutes' ride, Bradley arrived at Stena Aurelia, which was one of the most advanced support vessels at the time. The ship had thrusters to maintain its position and a full diving support system. The crew on Stena Aurelia wasn't new to Bradley. He knew most of the people on the vessel and thought of it as another day on the job. After a quick briefing from the supervisor, Bradley put on heavy diving gear, ready to dive. The heavy helmet, the tight suit, and a bundle of cable and hoses that made up his umbilical, Bradley put on and attached everything as he used to do for his diving jobs. Bradley entered the diving bell that slowly started lowering into the North Sea to take Bradley to the location where he had to lay the cables. Once the bell touched down, Bradley exited it and was ready to begin his task. At this point, the only thing that was connecting him to the outside world was his umbilical. But soon, the same umbilical would become Bradley's biggest nightmare. Bradley, in communication with the crew on deck, started to work. Everything was going well without any issues until the vessel's thrusters changed their location without warning, and the powerful current generated as a result caught Bradley Westell's umbilical cord when he was returning to the diving bell. Before anyone could do anything, the thrusters pulled the umbilical and Bradley at high speeds, and Bradley was dragged into the vessel's propeller within no time. As Bradley was being pulled to the thrusters, Kenneth Roberts, the diving supervisor in the control room on Stena Aurelia, tried to control the situation but couldn't. Within a matter of seconds, Bradley was decapitated after being sucked by the propeller. The thrusters were disengaged shortly after, but it was too late for Bradley, who'd already lost his life. When it came to what or who was responsible for Bradley's death, some blamed the thrusters for it, whereas others questioned the decisions that were made on the deck after Bradley had descended underwater. One person who was at the center of the investigation was the diving supervisor, Kenneth Roberts. As the investigation began, it was clear that some of Roberts' decisions in the moments leading up to the tragic accident were not as per the safety protocols. The investigation found that there were several lapses in judgment by Kenneth Roberts, and he didn't follow the protocols properly. As for Kenneth Roberts, he knew he had made a mistake that took the life of someone who was depending on him from several meters underground. So, he decided to tamper with the main evidence of the accident, the black box. The black box recorded everything that went on in the control room and underwater, including the instructions given by Roberts and his reaction to the mishap. But before anyone could see it, Roberts wiped out a part of the video in which he extended Bradley's umbilical cord beyond the safe limit. However, he was unsuccessful in covering his tracks, and the court found him guilty in negligence and for perverting the course of justice. As a result, Kenneth Roberts was sentenced to 1 year in prison in 1997, which was the first time a person was sentenced for a crime offshore in the North Sea oil industry. Strict safety protocols were also put in place to avoid any such accident from happening again. Bradley was divorced and living with his fiancée in Portalton near Aberdeen. The family last saw him on his son's 3rd birthday. His mother, Christine, told the media that he was a young man with a mortgage and took any job he got, no matter where. The tragic accident that led to the death of Bradley Westell is a reminder that those in charge of work like Bradley's have a greater role to play in ensuring the safety of their workers. Had Kenneth Roberts acted timely and followed the safety protocols, Bradley Westell would have survived. Let me know your thoughts on this tragic story in the comments below. And before you leave, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button.